Oh, howdy all, grab yourself a beer, it's time for some Path of Exile discussion. Today, I wanted to return to a series discussing powerful and popular endgame unique items. And today we're going to be talking about the 7th most popular belt, in a unique belt in the Ultimatum League, and that is Coward's Legacy. Coward's Legacy is interesting in that a lot of unique items, if you haven't built around the item, the item still makes your character a bit stronger. It's just that its potential goes unfulfilled. So, for instance, the Primordial Chain. If you were to stick this on a random character, at the very least, you've got the regeneration of a few lights per second. You pick up the ability to summon more golems, which maybe you're not doing very much with, but at least it's doing something for you. The Coward's Legacy, however, has a massive drawback. And that is that you are cursed with vulnerability with 80% increased effect, and there is also 50% increased effect of curses on you. Combined, this means that you are cursed with vulnerability that has 130% increased effect. This means that pretty much any monster that hits you is likely to have a very high chance to inflict a bleed, and a painful bleed, and additionally, any physical damage hits that you take are going to be really, really painful. So, we need to mitigate those drawbacks. Why bother, you might be asking? And that is because of the line, you count as on low life when you are cursed with vulnerability. So, while you are cursed with vulnerability, you count as on low life, which allows you to take advantage of one of the single most powerful nodes on the entire passive tree, and that is Pain Attunement. 30% more spell damage while you are on low life. So what this will do is allows you to turn the belt slot, which is often a defensive slot, into a tremendous damage multiplier. And it's not just a small one, like some of the other sorts of things that you can find that might be, 3% more damage here, 8% damage more here. No, this is a massive 30% more spell damage. So if you're dealing spell damage, this could be the difference between doing 2 million DPS and 2.6 million DPS. Alternately, if you like to think in terms of time to kill on bosses, against a boss like the Elder, which I think has about 75 million hit points, if you've got 2 million DPS, time to kill is about 38 seconds. If you've got 2.6 million, you're looking at 29. So it's considerably faster, and this will be a huge, huge, huge assistance to your character's overall strength if you can make the drawbacks work. So, in terms of making the drawbacks work, the best solution usually is to use it in conjunction with the Atziri's Reflection unique shield. Atziri's Reflection will be a later entry in this series, and so I will be doing a video on it itself. But it has the very interesting text that you are unaffected by curses. This doesn't mean that you are immune to curses. There's a difference in Path of Exile between being immune to something and being unaffected by it. If you're immune to it, it can't be affected. It cannot be inflicted on you at all. And what I'll demonstrate this with, I'm just going to stick on the Coward's Legacy, even though my character's not built around it, and I'm going to do a bunch of damage to myself, and then have a look, and you'll notice that I've got Vulnerability Curse on me. I only hit my second life flask, and you'll see vulnerability disappears. The reason it disappeared was because I'm using a Warding Flask, which grants immunity to curses. However, what Atziri's Reflection does is it reduces the effectiveness of the curse all the way down to 0. And that means that in conjunction with Coward's Legacy, you can have all the curses on you that you want, and you're still completely immune to their detrimental effects, but you are still considered to have them on you. One of the really popular builds in the Ultimatum League around this uses the Maven exclusive helmet of Viridi's Veil in conjunction with a right finger magic ring in order to grant you immunity to curses, and then uses Coward's Legacy as well. And this is a solid performing build. It's a Hierophant Spell Totem build, and it uses the unique chest piece Soul Mantle. That's not the only way you can play this, and like I say, the traditional way has been to use the Atziri's Reflection Shield. Now, let's talk quickly about some of the other mods on the item, so that gives you a sense of why you might want to go out of your way to make Coward's Legacy work in a build. In terms of the other stats, they're pretty mediocre except for one. So we have 20 to maximum energy shield. Now that's a roll from 9 to 20. Very easy to use Blessed Orbs to perfect it. Don't bother with defense catalysts on this. There's another mod that you're going to want to use, that you're going to want to amp up with catalysts. Next you have 15 to 20 to all attributes. And you see I've got a bottom roll of 15. This is a little bonus. You want it on the item, you don't really care about it, but it's nice to have. Next, we have the powerful mod. There is a 5 to 10% increased movement speed. Now, the Coward's Legacy that you see on the screen at the moment is a perfect 10% roll that has then had this mod amped up to 12% by the use of 20 accelerating catalysts. This is what I would suggest you do. If you're wanting to use the Coward's Legacy on a build, you don't necessarily need to have the perfect roll and the accelerating catalyst immediately, but it should be your medium-term goal. In the Ultimatum League, it's actually pretty cheap to get this belt compared to historic precedent. Coward's Legacy is often a 3 to 5 Exalt item in leagues. In the current Ultimatum League, though, everything you see here cost me a total of 130 Chaos, so a little bit less than an Exalt. That was 80 Chaos to purchase a Coward's Legacy with a perfect 10% move speed roll, and then 50 Chaos to purchase 20 of the accelerating catalysts. Were I more patient on picking up those accelerating catalysts, I could have done them cheaper too. So, how do you source this item? So the first option is Ultimatum League exclusive, and it's the Vaal Reliquary Key. This is luck of the draw, but if you do find a Vaal Reliquary Key during the current league, you have a slim chance of getting a Coward's Legacy. This isn't likely to help most of you actually source this item, but in a trade league, it means that the league is flooded with copies of this powerful item. So very easy to source this and get one for yourself that way. However, the second and more common approach, all of the pieces of this drop in the Temple of Atzoatl. You're going to need 3 pieces, and you're going to need one of them to be last. So the first thing that you need is, if you go to Elva, who opens up the Temple of Atzoatl, you're going to need to source 3 things. Firstly, you are going to need from the Apex of Atzoatl, you will need a Vial of Consequences. This is a rare drop from the Vaal Omnitect, and it's one of the pieces you need. The second piece you need is the Coward's Chains unique belt, which can also drop from the Apex of Atzoatl, and I also believe can drop from some of the other rooms within the Temple of Atzoatl. Finally, you're going to need a Sacrificial Chamber level 3, rank 3. Now, I don't have a Sacrificial Chamber to show you here, but what it lets you do is use the vials that drop from the Vaal Omnitect to upgrade various incursion-specific unique items, and so you'll get the Coward's Chains that way, and then upgrade it to the Coward's Legacy. So that's basically it. That's how it's normally sourced. And in a trade league, you can always purchase the pieces you're missing. So if you've had the Coward's Chains drop, but you've not had the Vial of Consequences, then you can purchase a Vial of Consequences from another player who's had their luck in reverse. And if you can't seem to get the Sacrificial room yourself, then what you can do is find another player that is selling a Chronicle of Atzoatl that has a tier 3 room that is connected, and then put the pieces together yourself in that Sacrificial room. Anyways, this is a powerful item, and it's something that I think a lot of players should consider using on builds if you're looking to really amp up your spell damage. Ultimately, it is competing with Headhunter, and Headhunter is a stronger item all around for most purposes. But a lot of builds that, like a lot of characters that feel like they've got everything in the game, what they will tend to do is have a Headhunter for killing trash monsters, and then swap over to a Coward's Legacy setup when they want to kill when they want to do heavy bossing. And that's something that I recommend giving a thought to, even if you are someone that's able to amass a couple of 100 Exalts in a league, or even more, then that is definitely a strategy that you could consider. Anyways, if you've got any comments or questions, fire away below. I will be resurrecting this series, as I said, and probably the next one will be Atziri's Reflection, which is best friends forever with this belt. Thanks for tuning in, and may your Vaal Orbs have interesting results.